2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
We have a chance to try to extend our season record to 12 games. And that's important for us, and that's the only thing that's really pretty much on my mind, and I think that speaks for the masses when I say that. Defense is playing great. The special teams is getting great field position. The offense is winning. The point of attack, we found ways to win.
You can't get to there until you take care of what's next.
I want to be number one.
Do you think you are the best?
Right now, at the time in life and where I'm playing at, yes.
Carolina Panther fans, we the best. We prevail over the Bucs in a exciting and heart-palpitating way. We're here to break it all down on the C3 Bucs at Panthers post-game show. My name is Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. You can be a part of the show by calling in the Cat Calls line, the number 252-228-5098, and we're going to break down this win. This somewhat impressive win in a way and somewhat scary win in another way, 42-28. I'm here with Cody Lashney to do it. How are you, Cody?
Tony Dunn, come rain, sleet, or snow, I'm better after a Panthers W, baby. I'm ready to talk Panthers football. A lot to like, a lot to hate. Let's do it, man.
Once again, the number to have your voice heard on the most interactive Panthers podcast is 228-5098, and we'll get your call played on the C3 Panthers post-game show. We come out like gangbusters, scoring 5 consecutive touchdowns. I feel like doing whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted. The Norv Turner offense and all the bells and whistles and excitement that everybody has wanted all season long was there in full effect. It looked like nothing. I mean, it was – I wrote on my notes, Cody, and y'all mugs want Andy Reid as your coach. No way. I mean, Norv was pulling out some awesome stuff. I mean, to the point where we had McCaffrey and CJ in the backfield and then split them out and went no backs. I mean, they did everything at will. But then they go into the half. They let the Buccaneers score a late second quarter touchdown to pull in. I think it was 35-28 at that point. I mean, 35-14. And, boy, we just couldn't do anything on offense to extend a drive. Everything went wrong The defense just missed some opportunities, and all of a sudden, the Buccaneers are within a score, right? Cody, you know that Panther Nation was flipping out at that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it so many times, and it's so infuriating. And it's like we forgot everything that we did just last Sunday against the Ravens. We played our first football game where we dominated all 4 quarters, and then it's like we just went right back to old habits. I mean, you know what they say, old habits die hard. I mean, the defense, our goal line defense leaves a lot to be desired, man. And it just seems like whenever they're in, 10 yards of the end zone, I mean, that's their opportunity to feast. And I don't know what that is. I mean, I think they need to pinpoint that in practice. It's a real weakness in our team right now when it's normally one of the strong points of our team. Other than that, yeah, man, this offense is powerful. It's potent. The word that comes to mind is misdirection. When you have DJ Moore, when you have Curtis Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, you have these dynamic offensive weapons, and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know where they're going. Our offense is powerful, but our defense needs to step it up.
I'm playing the Curtis Samuel touchdown right now to highlight this misdirection. Other than Curtis Samuel also traversing 103 yards to go 30 yards, it was a pretty awesome play. But like you said, Cody, is that this is where that offense was so deadly in the first half. You had no idea where the ball could or would wind up at that moment. You had, in a sense, like you said, all of this misdirection that was going on. I think even Rondé Barber mentioned, he said, hey, the eye discipline is impossible when you're doing things like this. They were motioning every which way you could possibly motion and then going the other way. I think this is just a taste of what we can do and what we can be offensively. You saw DJ Moore play well in the first half. You saw Curtis Samuel make some exciting plays. So this offense, I don't think there's much holding it back, Cody, at this point. Even Devin Funchess is playing in what I think is the best we've ever seen him play, and arguably playing to stay on this roster for the long term.
Yeah, no doubt. I've said before, Devin Funchess, I think right now on this team right now, even though it might have more talented players, he's the number 1 wide receiver. On that first goal line stand, Cam Newton threw the out route to Devin Funchess when he had Jarius Wright open in the back of the end zone. And that kind of shows you that on plays like that, Cam Newton trusts Devin Funchess to be able to zip it in there and put points on the board. What I will say, though, is, okay, Curtis Samuel had 2 touchdowns today, and yet I still feel like we're underutilizing him. I think the guy creates a lot of separation. I want to see more of him on the field, and I'm hoping that that's something that will continue to happen. As of right now, though, I am happy. This is a very powerful offense. Dare I say, maybe even more powerful than our 2015 season, minus the powerful deep threat that Ted was.
Certainly more talented, right? Certainly more talented at this point. Now, Curtis Samuel was in there a good bunch. We'll pay attention to the snap counts that will be released tomorrow and see how much they were integrating him into the show. But you said 2 touchdowns. He also dropped a big 3rd and 15 pass, or a third down pass, one earlier in the game that he ran a beautiful route. And I mean, it was right there. Cam delivered the ball, just a missed opportunity, and that's okay. I mean, those plays happen. It was nice to see him come back strong afterwards. Now we're gonna go ahead and jump into the calls, Cody, and let them kind of guide the show. We do have a lot to talk about, whether it be, like someone mentioned in the chat room, the burning of 3 timeouts or early in the second half. What kind of disaster of management this was. And I think that you could see that it was so bad all around that it doesn't fall on any one person. So Cam's going to have to take some of that blame. The coaching staff's going to have to take some of that blame. So we'll talk about how much that affected the game. And then a lot of people want to talk about the coaching of the defense, Eric Washington under fire again. I think it's unwarranted. But we'll get into all that in just a moment. You can have your voice heard on the C3 Panthers post-game show. The number is 252-228-5098. And right before we get in the calls, why don't you turn your phone portrait mode, smash that thumbs up button, give us a like, continue to comment, continue to share the show. We're growing each and every day. Each and every week we get more and more viewers. Panther Nation, the C3 family getting strong together. All right, let's go to your calls right now.
What's going on, guys? This is your boy, the Black Cat, Brandon Herbert, and this has been a really, really good game.
What's up, Brandon?
I know it's going to go unnoticed, and I know it sounds like nitpicking, but clock management was horrible this game. But it just got overpowered and overshined by how well the teams played today, which is a good thing. If you can still make those mistakes and everything like that and still dominate the way that we did. Now, the defense did let up a little bit in the third quarter, but as you can see, like Dante Jackson, like you've been saying, Cody, he's a dog, he's a beast.
He's the man.
And I'll give props to James Bradbury. Still not a big fan of his. I don't
great in the game.
Says. Like, he had one good game, but he really did a good job matching up with Mike Evans. Probably because Mike Evans is a lot more physical receiver, and James Bradbury, out of all the stuff I talked about, he's a very physical type corner. So it worked, and it played well to his favor and everything like that. Cam Newton played great. He played out of his mind today. He had a couple of missed throws, but like you said, every quarterback has those. But I still wish that they would involve DJ Moore a little bit more in the offense, but, that's it. Like I said, this is just nitpicking today because 35 points in the first quarter was amazing. Wish we did not take our foot off the gas in the third and some of the fourth quarter. Man. That's why we allowed them to come back. But other than that, great game, guys. Love seeing Cam smiling and having a great time like that. That's when you know the other team is in trouble. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Love you guys. Keep up the good work and keep pounding.
What I would say is this, is you want to see what Cam Newton is smiling, is you can check him out just showboating right into the end zone here. I'm going to play the clip one more time, hopefully, if I can get it work. Cam Newton, this is in the second quarter where they're about to just go up 35-7, I think, and Cam walks and strolls. Took a lot of flack on the internet about, how disrespectful that is. I would like to remind everybody that he was just practicing clock management there, trying to run the clock down. Draw this thing out. There was a lot of, I think that is, we saw it with the timeouts being a clock problem. I think another thing we saw is on that last touchdown drive, other than all the penalties we had, that was uncalled for. Some of them I don't think were warranted at all, but Greg Olsen makes a huge catch in that drive, and I felt like I wish he would have just fought to stay in bounds. Instead, he goes out of bounds. He lets the tackler push him out of bounds. I thought that could have helped. Some small things like that to shave off some extra seconds. But, man, when you look at that timeout catastrophe, Cody, what was going on?
I don't know, man. It's the worst that it's ever been, and we've talked about it before, how bad the time management under Ron Rivera is. We wasted all of our second half timeouts in one drive. What is that, dude? That is terrible. Listen, especially when you're playing a division rival, okay? These games count for 2. And we're in the second half against a high-powered offense. They're better with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I don't know what happens. The commentators talk about how our play clock is up higher, so it's harder for Cam Newton to see it sometimes, where normally it's right eye level with the quarterback. But then you also have to wonder, why are the plays coming in so slow? And
I think it's Cody, I think some of it, too, is us seem to be a little lazy in and out of the huddle.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of those things. But the fact that it's a reoccurring issue, I just don't know why that happens. It seems like it happens every home game. We're good for 1 or 2 misused timeouts, and it's just so annoying, man. When it comes down to the wire, you have to have those. And I just don't know what that is, man. But one thing I would like to say about to my man Brandon, James Bradbury balled out today, man. Now, this is not Dante, who we're definitely going to talk about, but I think you'll agree with me, Tony, that Bradbury played physical today, man. Their number one option in Mike Evans was a non-issue pretty much the whole day, and James Bradbury was on him, I feel, the whole time.
You know, I feel like James Bradbury is that people have been a little hard on him. Now, he's had some moments where he's just had some growing pains, and he put a lot of pressure his rookie season. Kind of played, plateaued his second season, and then last year, I think it was last year would be in his, or is this year his third or fourth?
This would be his third year for Bradbury.
Okay, so you're looking for him to be a lot sharper at this point in his career. That's where I think a lot of the criticism has come at in this point, and that he hasn't necessarily been a ball hawk. But I think he's been tasked. If you think about who he's had to face this season so far, Mike Evans, Alshon Jeffrey, Odell Beckham Jr. I don't know how much he was up against him, but he hasn't had cupcake receivers to go against. He played very well, and I think this is that while Dante Jackson has established himself as just a dynamic player that can really impact the game in both the blitz and coverage and turnovers and tackling, all of these tools he has, is that it's taking a little pressure off of Bradbury. And number two is that Bradbury's a nice complement to Dante Jackson's style, but so that you can put him up against a Mike Evans. And I feel like if there was any criticism, or one of the main criticism against kind of the Gettleman era of drafting, is he was a little too monolithic in the player type that he liked. And so it's nice to have a guy that has speed and athleticism, and then another guy on the other side that can play physical, so you can deal with what these teams are throwing at you.
Yeah, and I feel today was the perfect type of personnel grouping that we want for our defensive backs. When you have this big body jump ball receivers like a Mike Evans, that's who James Bradbury is meant to go up against. And yet when you have an absolute burner like Deshaun Jackson for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you need a player that'll run a 4.2 like the man who is and I'm a bit biased, but dude, I think Dante Jackson is the defensive rookie of the year, man. He is so tremendous. The way he plays, he's fast to the ball. He's already had as many interceptions this year as he had his entire college career at LSU, man. I'm telling you, the man is the truth. That is our Marshawn Lattimore. I'm loving him, man. He doesn't play like he's 5'10". You're right. He is not someone that David Gettleman would have drafted. But thank God, man, because he is incredible.
Yeah, comes down with another interception today. Made some big tackles, too.
Huge.
And I think we got to also probably mention that his play has benefited, and this defense's play has benefited, and even James Bradbury's play has benefited from the addition of Eric Reed. Eric Reed's been out there. He's really just added a lot to this defense. Has he been a guy that single-handedly has changed the defense? No. I don't think we should go that far and compliment it. But when he got injured today, we were worried. And we were worried about how serious this was. But he has been playing hard. And I think that gives a credibility to that secondary that then lends for these younger players to go and just play with the fear of just, if they make a bad play, it's a game-ending thing.
Yeah, and also a lot of it depends on the pass rush, and ours has been very hit or miss. I feel in the first quarter, which this is a different subject, but, I mean, when your pass rush is finding the quarterback.
We were all over him, dude. We were all over him in the first half.
I believe Mario Addison had 3 sacks on the day. I want to say that puts him up to, I believe, 8.5 now sacks on the season. He leads our team in sacks, and Yeah, I mean, but when they get home and you put that pressure, man, Dante Jackson feasts on those situations because he's so instinctive. He can jump the route. He can run step for step, right with the fastest receiver on their football team. And we have not had that for a very long time. And you're right, though. If you know this about Eric, they put him in that single high safety position way back there, and they just dare you to throw down his way, man. That's another guy who had an interception today. That tandem is a very nice duo for us right now.
Mario Addison, 3 sacks on the day, 3 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for a loss, and 1 forced fumble. So he had a heck of a game. And I also think that we should mention that Julius Peppers had 3 batted passes in this game that were just as important and many times. All right, we're going to keep pounding with your calls. The number's 252-228-5098.
Hey, what's up, C3? Man, again, this your boy Nova Black again. I just watched that game against
Nova Black, what's up?
Last week, we smashed on the number 1 defense, huh? This week, we smashed on a super bad, supposed to be scoring offense. Everybody said, shootout, shootout, shootout. The defense shut everybody mouth. They turned Fitz magic to Fitz tragic. How about Dante Jackson? You know, how about our guys getting through it on offense, putting up them points? I see where they take their foot off the gas a little bit, you know, and then, you know, it seems like, well, the coaches take the foot off the gas and the players are like, let's keep going. So, look what we got here. All righty. Smash number 1 defense, smash the top offense. Everybody showed up. Curtis Samuel showed up big time. They see why that boy been a runner in college. Yeah, boy. And as a matter of fact, he was projected to be a low number 1 round draft pick, but we got him on a steal in the 2nd round. Y'all forgot about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, once he overcome the health issues, I knew he was going to come out, but I hope he can stay healthy. Anyway, we had a good game. We came out with the win. I think we 6-2 now. I'm saying look forward to keep the choo-choo train rolling next Thursday against Pittsburgh. Everybody keep pounding.
I think
that dude is awesome.
Yeah, what a fantastic call that was. I mean, he just really called the game from top to bottom, except for there's one thing the callers have not zoned in, and I think this is exciting, Cody, that the fact that that this has gone overlooked to this point, and that is Christian McCaffrey has what he has done in this for this offense has been tremendous. Is Christian McCaffrey? He has hold on, if I can get this dang video to play. Here we go. Christian McCaffrey on the day had 17 attempts for 79 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and then you can also get him involved in the receiving game. McCaffrey had 6 receptions for 78 yards. He had a 32-yard play. He had a 32-yard catch and a 32-yard run as well, or 35-yard run. I'm going to put this video up, hopefully, one more time, see if we can get it going. But, man, what a difference maker he has been for this offense.
Yeah, and, you know, I feel as though we expect that kind of performance from him, so we don't, you know, we it's almost an afterthought. Oh, yeah, Christian McCaffrey also balled out again today. And listen, whenever we motion him around, just look for whatever he does on the offense. Whenever they move Christian around, the defense always responds. You know, one of the things that we said earlier was misdirection is one of the things that we've been using a lot of. And we have so many different pieces that are able to do just that, getting the defense to think one way and we go a different way. And really, it doesn't matter if you're in man coverage or if you're a 3-4 team, or it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's hard to stop that because you just don't know what to account for. And yeah, McCaffrey as a passing threat, as a rushing threat, I mean, he lives up to that number 8 pick in the draft status every single Sunday.
What he has become as an NFL football player this year is really what everybody who expected the most out of him expected. I got to say this, apologies to Christian McCaffrey for myself for saying that I would take Leonard Fournette over him. Heads up, head-to-head right now, I can't not, but right now there's no argument that Christian McCaffrey is a more valuable player than Leonard Fournette is, and a much more dynamic player. The guy really has just shown that he is a playmaker. I think he's shown tremendous vision in the running game. And like you said, it's hard to account for what Christian McCaffrey does in confusing defenses and motioning and these kind of wrinkles that he adds to the whole subject. And then you add that in the addition that you have a quarterback who does that as well as, Cam Newton. That's kind of the Cam Newton effect. That's what Cam Newton does and he's been doing for 8 years, is that versatility, that misdirection, the kind of it factor. I don't know how you quantify that on the stat sheet, Cody.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. And, I forget who said it, but I believe it was one of the members in our chat. Or, it might have even been Joey that said so many of our players are the same type of player. When you have Curtis Samuel and Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore, they can all do very similar things.
It was Joey. Yeah, he said we had 3 Christian McCaffreys now with DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. And we saw it today, did we not?
Yeah, and listen, they're all that wide receiver, running back hybrid, and we're able to use them effectively. And again, a lot of credit goes to Norv Turner because, he has really changed up what he has done traditionally in the past. If you look at his time in San Diego and Dallas and other places, I mean, he has accommodated his play style to the personnel that he has on the field.
Maybe that is what he's been doing all his career, though. If you go back and look at it, is just
True.
And again, you get another unique set of people here. He was not shy about the challenge and of doing that going into the season, and boy, has he answered the call. I told you guys for the last several weeks. Actually, for the last 8 weeks, I told you this was coming, that we were going to be releasing these things as we went, as guys. Some of it may be determined on health and preparation, but right now, I don't even know. Imagine being a defense trying to prepare for what you saw in the first half. And then he could come out and call a more vanilla game, and you have no idea that that's coming next.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it doesn't matter what kind of personnel you have on the field, if you're in single high, it doesn't matter. I mean, when you have all these different weapons, and by the way, we're using them all now. So DJ Moore is having more and more reps than he ever has. Curtis Samuel had 2 touchdowns. You always have to accommodate for Christian McCaffrey, Greg Olsen, and Devin Funchess. I mean, there's a lot to accommodate for. And, I mean, it really does make me wonder, do we have the potential to be the most dangerous offense in the NFL? Because even though we might not put up the gaudy numbers that Kansas might put up or the Saints or the Rams, dude, how did you defend us? I mean, really, I don't know how you defend us.
I think in many ways it's probably the similar question that teams are asking when they play the Chiefs. And that is, how do you deal with the athleticism that their weapons have? I mean, that's what it is a athleticism, is that our guys one-on-one in space are going to beat you every time. It's what Brandon Cooks does for the Rams. Yeah. It's what Kareem Hunt and who's the other one?
Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Samuel Watkins.
Tyreek Hill, yeah, those 2 guys do for the Chiefs, and it's really what Alvin Kamara does for the Saints. And it's nice to see this, is that the Panthers are ahead of the curve on this, maybe kind of movement in the NFL to this type of game, this type of offense, that we're not trailing behind, that really we've got the pieces to be that type of offense. But Cody, I tell you one thing, while the Rams offense Rams have got the best running back, one of the arguably the best running backs in the history of the NFL, if he can continue this, what he's done in Ty Gurley. But and I believe this, though, is that wouldn't you rather have for the Panthers to have the most dynamic offense in the last 10 games of the season rather than in the first 8?
Oh, absolutely. That's when it matters, man. That November, December football, I mean, moving into the start of the new year, yeah, that's when you want your team firing on all cylinders. And one of the things that I said earlier, is that you don't know who a football team is to about that game 6 or 7 mark of the season. Because you've seen teams that have been undefeated up until that point, and then they just kind of fall off a map. So, I think that now you're seeing the Panthers playing their best football right now. That bodes in our favor because we're trending up at the right time, at the right season. Dare I say, this has the potential to be a Panthers team that can make a very deep, even Super Bowl run.
Yeah, it's exciting in that if you saw that first half, the way the defense was playing, and really I think that was the unsung story of the first half was the defense because we were so enamored by the Panthers offense. Last point on this, I did have one more point, and that was, I can't even remember it now. It had to do with how dynamic this Panthers offense could be. Is I truly believe these are the best weapons we've had to this point ever. And if we can start cooking and get on rhythm, I don't think that we should, while we haven't been comparable to a Kansas City team yet, this week showed maybe we can be.
Yeah, and I'm a diehard MMA fan, and there's a saying in the fight community that styles make fights. So, you might be an incredible wrestler, but man, if someone has the jiu-jitsu that can just, put you in a choke before you know it, then, they're going to have the advantage. And it, in my opinion, is true for the NFL also. While we might not have the sheer firepower that teams I've mentioned earlier does, Atlanta, New Orleans, both in our division, the Rams, the Chiefs, we have the type of offense that we're going to continue to attack in ways that you're not going to be able to defend. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's, death by 1,000 cuts because it's coming from every different direction. And I mean that literally.
That's the truth, is that when Funchess and Olsen are side stories in this offense, when you can almost forget that McCaffrey has played to the level he has played. And here, Cody, I'm going to put up a clip of that Cam Newton walking into the end zone there.
Yeah.
And what we can see here is that if you look at that play right there with Cam strolling in, and I'm having the most difficulty with all these clips today. I'm going to get it, though. But if you could see this is 2 weeks in a row that the Panthers have had where a defense in the end zone is so committed and so worried about the threat of a Christian McCaffrey and some of these other interior of just the team and the offense that you can forget that Cam Newton just does that at will. I think that's why Cam was showboating so much. Is like, seriously, will you let us trick you that bad?
Yeah, I mean, do you remember? And this is a legitimate question because I have a hard time even remembering too many times that we were stopped at the goal line this season.
We have been atrocious in our red zone defense, but we have been the best red zone offense that I can remember.
Yeah, I feel like we're easily one of the best red zone offenses in the NFL just because we can attack you so many different ways. Greg Olsen and Devin Funchess as the big body receivers, but also when you have these fast, shifty receivers that are able to make you miss out in space, and you have the biggest red zone threat in the NFL in Cam Newton, again, it's like you're spreading your defense thinner than they're able to.
All right, let's get back to the calls. I do want to bring this up is that we haven't even mentioned how awesome of a catch Greg Olsen made for a touchdown.
Man.
All right. The number is 252-228-5098. We appreciate it. Everybody listen on Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube. We ask you to turn your phone to portrait mode, smash the thumbs up button, and share the show on social media. It helps grow Panther Nation. You're part of the fam. You're driving the question. You're driving the calls. You're driving the show, and here we go.
Yes, this is Jeremiah from Swansboro. I got to say it was another great win. Our offense came out and was on fire today. Everything was going great. I just wish we could have kept it up in the third, but it is what it is. We came through in the fourth. Go Panthers, keep pounding. And Ron, please get better with this time management, baby. We might have needed those timeouts. All right, y'all keep going.
Yeah, when you're letting teams score touchdowns and mount a comeback, and you potentially could be in a game where you need to mount a last kind of offensive drive, whether to make it a 2-score game or to extend, whatever you need to do to draw it out. Those timeouts, like we've said early in the show, have been, they're an asset to have. I feel like this is, at the end of the day, is that you just want to have 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning in every game. And that just has to exponentially help your odds for winning, whether you're ahead or behind. So continue to be those problematics. Now, Cody, I want to mention this, is that he said that offense comes out gangbusters. I don't know if I've ever seen a more powerful offensive attack than we saw in that first and second quarter from a Panthers team, period. Is this some of the Tampa Bay Bucs being bad on defense? Because I didn't even feel like it was just them being horrific on defense. I just thought it was us being exceptional on offense.
Well, in the second half, they didn't come out and hold us to 2 3-and-outs. So, it does kind of lend me to believe that, maybe it was just our offense. Man, we got rolling really early. And, we had the momentum, and then we just burned them. And by the way, we have to mention another record broken. We have never scored that many points in the first half of a football game before. So, I mean, this is quite literally a record-breaking football team. Again, I mean, this is what I'll say. Even though their defense is bad, I'm not going to put it all on their defense, because we did it to what the numbers said was the best defense in the NFL last Sunday. I mean, we just moved the ball pretty much whenever we wanted to, and they're loaded just about on every position on their defense, that Ravens defense. So, I don't think this was Tampa Bay being bad. I think this is a high-powered offense that's different than your normal offense, but it's still, like I said, man, death by 1,000 cuts.
Shout out to Jeff San on Facebook, who says, playing too conservative in the second half today won't get you far against teams like the Steelers and the remaining games. It could bite them in the ass later. One of the things that, let's go and talk about how things kind of screeched to a halt and bordered on disaster and calamity in that second half.
Yeah.
For me, I think a lot of people in the chat room, and I'm sure eventually in the calls by Tuesday night, have started to direct some of their angst at Eric Washington, the defensive game plan. For me, Cody, I don't think this comes down to coaching. I think this comes down to execution on both the defense and on the offense that slowed us down in that second half. What you saw is that the offensive line was not surrendered zero pressure in the beginning of the game. And in that third quarter, they started getting after Cam. So they sacking Cam, pushing us back into some difficult positions. And then the Panthers just, I feel like sometimes the players on defense, while we're calling a conservative defense, also just have to make the plays. Wouldn't it be nice to get to – we weren't getting to Fitzgerald in that second half. He had a ton of time. And that, of course, is going to be problematic for a defense that is trying to not give up the big play. But we allowed them to convert on third down several times, and we failed to execute ourselves on a couple of third downs, 3-and-outs in that third quarter, as well as a failed fourth and one attempt. All of these penalties were coming out in the second half. It was a calamity of errors that accumulated into those guys really coming back.
Yeah, at this point, and I've said this over the course of the season to you and Joey and Mel, that I feel that this defense hasn't shown its true potential, that there's still something that's kind of waiting to click. And while that may be true, I do think I'm at the point of saying that this defense it just isn't, minus the additions in the backfield, this defense just isn't as good as it has been in previous years. And while you obviously don't want to hear that, you think about the Patriots and how many years have they been to the Super Bowl? And their philosophy basically is a bend, don't break. And even though teams put up some points on us and, they'll hurt us running the football and throwing the football, it seems that our defense seems to just do enough right when it matters the most. I mean, even in our 2 losses, we were in both of those, held them, the Falcons and the Redskins, to relatively no points in the second half of the football game. So I'm not down on them. I'm not an Eric Washington needs to be fired type of person. I do agree with you. I think there was a lot of tackles in open field that were just missed,
Yeah.
Just flat out missed. And that's on the players. Eric Washington can't make the tackle for you, So, yeah, I do think a lot of that was on our players, and they just didn't execute.
Think about that one touchdown to Humphrey that resulted from Dante Jackson getting kind of a rub pick from Mike Evans, and Dante Jackson gets just knocked off kilter, spun around. So, those are things that in many ways you were there to potentially make the stop. You just couldn't execute it. I think this too, third down efficiency, they were 5 for 12 on third down with 42% conversion. We were 4 for 10. Not bad. They converted 2 fourth downs. Met one fourth down. I guess the fake punt would be their other one, which was the bizarrest thing ever. But
was that not the dumbest thing you've ever seen?
I felt like at that point when they did that, Cody, I tweeted this out, is that the Bucs are packing up. I might be surprised if they come out at halftime. Like, it was on their 20 they were doing it. It was terrible. Yeah. Now, for me, though, is that this is Ron Rivera always says this. The game comes down to a couple of plays. A couple of missed opportunities is his favorite term. I think we got screwed, though, in a very important moment of this game with the false start call on the 4th and 1 where we try to hurry up to the line a little bit and QB sneak it. I thought those guys on the right side were down and set. It might not have been long, but I didn't think they were moving. And I think that was an example of referees calling, much like in baseball sometimes, calling what they think is going to happen rather than what they see.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. The officiating wasn't terrible for the most part today. I think that was theirs. And, I think you can make a real argument that Christian McCaffrey, in that one play that he rushed into the end zone, that his knee might have been down before the football.
I don't think he was in.
Yeah, I don't think that he was in either. In fact, I was expecting it to be overturned. But, hey, man, they gave it to us, and they're never going to argue with the touchdown, So, I mean, they had theirs. Listen, I think the sign of a good defense is a defense that can overcome things like what happened today. You had Humphreys, and, man, he was the best receiver on the field today for them. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns. Is that his name?
Who?
And me being a Clemson fan, I feel so stupid because he went to Clemson.
Who's that?
The receiver for Tampa Bay. Humphreys?
Yeah.
Adam Humphreys.
Humphreys, one of the 2.
Yeah, and he was just, man, he was their best receiver today. And, when they were able to respond to plays like that, and at the end of the game, put pressure on Fitzpatrick. Yeah, man, I think it was just our defense did enough, and I still do think that they are a little bit better than they've played in the second half. I'm hoping for a more consistent defense that does what they did in the first and the second quarter, and I think it's possible.
If that defense comes out, it comes to life that we saw in the first and second quarter, I'm putting my money on the Panthers to win the Super Bowl. Because we've seen the offense do it. What we haven't just seen is it just be complete dominance. But that first half was complete dominance. And I think there's something to be excited about that few people want to say anything about. And unfortunately, he always finds himself getting a penalty. And that's Vernon Butler is still receiving a lot of playing time. And I know that people have been ready to turn the page and give up on Butler, but I'm excited to see that he is still carving out a role on this defense, and that tells us something that's happening that the coaches see. And I feel like the defensive tackle play today was noticeably better. Someone in the chat room earlier said something about Poe having a good game. I thought KK Short was all over the field, and I couldn't tell if it was Vernon Butler or Kyle Love half the time, but those guys were getting a lot of push. So if that defensive line can coalesce around those defensive tackles, watch out, because the linebackers and Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis have been playing really tough. Dante Jackson, this defense hasn't played to its potential just yet, I don't think, and that it might be good news. Interesting note, Cody, 0 field goals in this game.
Oh, that is an interesting note. I will, I'll sort of echo kind of what you're saying. It does seem that we feel that they're trending in the right direction right now. And another thing that needs to be said is that they have one of the most high-powered offenses in the NFL. And in order to be able to throw the ball down the field like they have been doing, you need an offensive line that can do that, you know? So, how many sacks did we have on the day? I mean, even though it didn't seem like it, we had about 5 or 6, didn't
I think it was only – I think we only got credited for 3. I think we had 3.
Wow, really? I could have swore there was more than that in the second half.
Final individual stats. Here we go. Third downs. Where are sacks at in this list right here? Keep talking and I'll find it.
Yeah, I mean, the point being is that they have an underrated offensive line. And the fact that we were able to do what we did, you know, even though we might not have had the most consistent pressure, the fact that we were able to get it in moments that mattered later on in the football game, I mean, that's a big thing, man. They call that situational football. I mean, you have to win in moments like that. And I think that, you know, we have the personnel to go a long way. But you also mentioned, Tony, you know, if our defense plays as it did in that first half, we're a Super Bowl team. Well, I feel we have to play that type of defense, man. I mean, we've already mentioned the type of offenses in the NFL right now. I mean, it's put up or shut up football. You have to have a smash mouth defense to be able to run up against these teams that are putting 37 to 40 points on the board every Sunday.
Oh, it was 3 sacks for 24 yards lost today. And the reason it felt like more, Cody, is because every sack that Mario Addison got was really created by somebody else. So if you think about Eric Reed gets after Ryan Fitzpatrick one time, and then Mario Addison cleans it up. Dante Jackson gets after Reed one time, after Fitzpatrick, and Mario Addison cleans it up. So the pressure was there. And I think there were a couple of plays, too, where Fitzpatrick threw it up or made some. I think some of the reasons it also feels like it was more sacks is because there were some plays that may not be credited as sacks, but truly were. Think about the time he was wrapped up and he flips it to the running back, and it was still a tackle from the loss. There was another one in the very first quarter where he was smashed, I think, by Luke Kuechly or somebody like this, and he actually threw the ball forward, and we were wondering, like, was that a throw? Was it a fumble? All of these different things. So the defense, but what they did is they did not have a relentless pass rush in the second half, and we could see that that was problematic. Maybe this is coming back to what we're concerned is at this for so far this season is much like it was last year defensively, is that while our defense gets after you, it seems like we have to manufacture pressure by bringing Reed, by bringing Dante Jackson. What we want to see is a more natural pass rush come. We saw that in the first half. We didn't see it in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely lack that stalwart, just badass pass rusher that's, you know, making life hell on the opposing quarterback. We don't have that player, man, and that's unfortunate because it feels like that's the only real piece that's missing on this defense right now. I think, you know, we've seen the best of Julius Peppers, you know, but I mean, he's still playing well. As you mentioned, all the batted balls, and, you know, that is a big deal in the long run. But overall, there isn't a dominant edge rusher or, even K1 Short hasn't really played to the level that we're used to seeing him.
They haven't gotten home enough.
Right, but one of the reasons why I am still hopeful is, man, we're making turnovers, man, between Dante Jackson and Eric Reed and Mike Adams. Even Munderland's been in on the action. We're turning the football over higher than I feel we have in the past 3 or 4 years.
Still think Munderland should have been given an interception and an assist from the field goal post. That's just me. The number's 252-228-5098. We're going to keep pounding with these calls.
Hey, guys, it's Josh from Massachusetts again. What a game today.
Josh?
Put up 42 points. Could have easily put up 50. Man, we just the only takeaway is we cannot let teams get back in like that again. I know, it might have seemed in hand, but we just can't do that, especially, this coming Thursday night, man. We got Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And boy, I'd love nothing more than to see us walk in there and walk back out with a W, because I think that really sets the tone for the season from here on out. Great team win today. I think the defense looked really good at times, and then there were times where they looked soft, and I think that was probably some of the old Ron Rivera getting a little cushy conservative with game plan, but don't matter at this point. Win's a win. Cheers to that. Keep pounding, boys.
Yes, thanks for the call. A win is a win. No one's going to remember if it was close or not in the end. But boy, it would be nice to have just one dominant performance. I think there could be a little silver lining in this, Cody. You let a team come back like this, maybe it sobers you a little bit. You walk out of that game and you beat them like Alabama beat LSU last night or something, and you go to Pittsburgh thinking you're invincible. Maybe this is enough for us to realize that, hey, you cannot – every play matters even when you're up by 35.
And then look at who we're playing, a team that traditionally spanks us in the Pittsburgh Steelers during the regular season. They have incredible personnel. I mean, they have a really good offensive line. James Conner picked up right where Le'Veon Bell left off. And, of course, you have what many people believe is the best receiver in football, and Antonio Brown. They added Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, that's another team that they can burn you in a lot of different areas, and, they want to do a little bit of everything. They want to run the football. They want to throw the football on you. And, yeah, I do agree with you. If we had a dominant performance – like a Clemson did or like an Alabama did, we might be kind of high apple pie in the sky, But one of the things that I am upset about, though, is, this is going to be a short turnaround. I mean, we have to play Thursday. Now it looks like Eric Reed is a little bit banged up. I saw this as an opportunity for us to put the stake in their hearts early on, so that way we could start to rest the guys a little bit later in the football game. We pretty much had to play the whole thing going full throttle. And I think that maybe that might have hindered us, or it might hinder us this Thursday. I'm hoping it won't.
Daniel Duncan describes it perfectly in the YouTube chat. They just stopped playing defense, and the offense was like, oh, well, we're up by a lot, and started backing off. You got to keep your foot on the pedal and don't let up.
Yeah, man.
Jason Sand on Facebook wants to know, have the Panthers ever scored over 50 in a game? And what is the biggest offensive production, biggest game that we've had offensively? And, and you're starting to wonder when you hear like, hey, the Panthers haven't come back from more than 10 down in the fourth quarter, 17 down overall. Historically, we did break those records. You got to wonder. I'm going to say this. You want to know the answer to that question and the most points put up, probably go back to 2015 and see, and I'll look it up, is what we did that year offensively, because I can't remember an offense that got home more than that season when it comes to the Carolina Panthers. I mean, you go back to the 2003 offense, is that it didn't start clicking toward the end of that season. That was a defensive team from the beginning, the heart and soul of that. So I'm glad. I hope this was a sobering moment for the Panthers. I think one thing you want is to be reminded that no matter how well you're doing and how excited you get, You've got to remember that those games, those wins don't matter anymore. On Thursday, we're just playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're 0-0, and they're 0-0 against each other this season, and we've really got to put it together. The Panthers, though, you go and you have this win offensively. You had the most complete win last week. You go in and win on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night in their house, bro. That's a statement to the NFL. You've got to consider us with the Saints and with the Rams. And is there an update on what that game right now?
Yes.
The Saints are up 21-14, I believe.
Yeah, they just scored a touchdown, 21-14. There's about 7 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second quarter. And, listen, there's a lot of teams. Let's just be real. That's the way the NFL is trending. Everyone's trying to put up a ton of points. Atlanta's still doing it. Just about every team in our division is putting up a ton of points right now. So, our defense is the most important thing going forward. I'm not trying to sound pompous here, but I kind of expected our offense to do this today. I wasn't expecting our defense just to dominate in that first, in the first and second quarter. And then, man, that performance in the second half, it's unexpected in a nicer way than unexpected in a bad way. We have to play more consistent defense, and I'm just worried about that short turnaround. One of the things I will say, though, our owner, David Tepper, who used to be a minority owner of the Steelers, that man wants a W bad.
Yeah, it's kind of you could spend hours talking about this. You'd love to get an old coach in the room and ask them how hard is it actually to play ahead that much without just saying that all we're going to do is try to score 70. You know what I mean? But I think that the Panthers did show that was not what they were trying to do in this game, was to come out in the second half. I think it was trying to, hey, it's time to start managing the clock. So the problem is that all is cool except for we're terrible at managing the clock.
Bad,
we don't need to get into that kind of game if we can't win it.
What up, Tony? What up, Cody? What up, C3? J-Dub.
J-Dub?
The man, the myth,
I didn't really get to watch the whole game. Just got to kind of watch it on that Red Zone preview today. But liked what I saw on the first half. Second half, I couldn't really tell exactly how it went for us. Exactly, it appeared we let off the gas a little bit, or maybe made some mistakes. I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me, but
I think it's more mistakes.
Kyle Love coming through. D. Jackson coming through. Eric Reed coming through. Alex Arma, boy. I love Arma.
That's another name we didn't mention.
Another touchdown for him.
C.J. Anderson.
One little negative I want to point out. Hey, Washington, can we figure out something with the tight end coming across the formation? Because those two touchdowns were a little easy. But overall, good win. Can't wait for Thursday night. So hyped for Thursday night. Hope y'all are too. I'm sure you are. Keep pounding, brothers.
All right. Thanks, J-Dub.
Good win. Let's keep it going.
That's J-Dub. You can find him in the YouTube chat room, also repping us in the TTC. J-Dub, I think this goes down to more of us making mistakes in the second half than it was letting the foot off the gas. I think we were – Ron Rivera's going for it on fourth down instead of kicking it.
Yeah.
I thought that was I think he did the right thing. I think that, but I think that traditionally Ron Rivera kicks a field goal there.
Yeah, I think normally he does. I'm surprised he didn't punt the football on that play where
we got backed up after the
yeah, we ended up getting backed up. It ended up being 4th and 6. Yeah, I was surprised that Ron went for it. I thought for sure he was going to punt since he wouldn't be able to just do a QB sneak with Cam Newton up the middle. But to his credit, he did. And one of the things I'll say is I believe there's enough blame to go around. I think that the players didn't make some plays that needed to be made. And I do think that there is a little bit of a coaching element to this in our philosophy of what we do when we have a substantial lead on a football team. And, I mean, that's why we've seen it so many times before that when the Panthers are up in a big way like that, how many of us fans roll our eyes and go, cardiac cats, man, this game isn't over. They're going to come right back. And they end up doing it, and it's so annoying because we know that we have better talent than that, and there is a coaching element to that. So
I also don't think we got the breaks. Last week all we talked about was how fortune smiled on us and we caught all the breaks. This week we didn't catch any breaks. I think that we got screwed on that false start. But even if you go back to where Cam slides, Cam goes down a hair early and could have had that first down. I'm okay with him saving his body there, but I think that they should have been thrown a flag for them hitting Cam as he was in his slide, clearly in the slide there. So we didn't get a lot of those breaks when it came to the penalties. Seemed to hurt us. We didn't have a ton of penalties, but they were timely and they were hard on us. And it's kind of hard to just say how a game goes when it comes down where one play all of a sudden could have made this a 3-score game. All these different things. But look, we come out with the wins. We're going to keep pounding with your calls. The number's 252-228-5098. Here we go.
Oh, I love it. It's your boy Little Norv again. Listen, my offense is clicking. Ronnie Ron told me to make it interesting in the second half, or we'd have put up a 70 burger. I love it.
All right, 252-228-5098.
Fellas, how about them Panthers? That's right. So, I'm tired of hearing you boys bash on James Bradbury. The proof is in the pudding. Keep pounding.
He's calling out Black Cat with Brother Herbert there. All right, last call so far that we've got right now. Last chance to get in the show. The number's 252-228-5098. Here we go.
What's happening, everybody? This is G Kavasier.
This is my dude, right?
I know y'all saw that game. Boy, that was a cardiac cat game because I really thought that the Buccaneers were going to come back and we were going to have to win by another 80-yard field goal. But, the Panthers came through. And I'm going to give my little player game ball to Julius Peppers, man. He should be starting for the United States volleyball team.
Yeah, he's
in the Olympics. That dude was swatting damn balls left and damn right. And before I go, if you guys get a chance to look at the highlights or whatever, that dude O.J. Howard is pretty good. But notice that he was offensive pass interference like hell, like majority of the damn game. I've seen him push Mike Adams so many dang on times that they didn't call anything. So just keep an eye on that, and much praise to Action Jackson and Eric Reed, even though I thought Eric Reed was out, but, I read on Twitter that, he put his helmet back on. He got back in the game. But, I believe he got 2 sacks from Super Mario. So, hey, keep pounding. We 6-2, and now we got to play them damn Steelers Thursday night. Keep pounding, y'all.
6-2 and just a few plays away from 8-0, to be honest. Had a chance to beat Atlanta. The C.J. Anderson, interception really set us back in that game. And you think about DJ Moore fumble problems or struggles against Washington. You're right down there at the end. Each of those games are winnable games. They were not, so we're right there with these types of teams that are leading the league, that are playing each other right now in New Orleans. And with Kansas City, I think we are comparable in quality. I want to go back to the O.J. Howard thing. O.J. Howard is an amazing player. I picked him up in fantasy football. He was I got him for nothing as a tight end. And everybody said that all the fantasy football gurus were just saying that he wasn't going to do anything. He has destroyed it. He had 2 touchdowns today. Cody, one of the things that sticks out to me, though, is I was hoping to get a little Shaq Thompson on O.J. Howard, and you saw him going up against Mike Adams. I didn't see a tremendous amount of Shaq Thompson in defense. He made a good special teams play today. Shaq Thompson, though, are we going right now back to the more traditional nickel with Captain 5 cornerbacks? I feel like Captain Munnerlyn was in there a lot, or is this just because we were ahead so much and we knew they were going to be passing?
I think it is a little bit of that. As far as personnel is concerned, I don't know if Shaq Thompson would have been a better matchup. It might have helped out a little bit, but really, it's not even that Adams did a bad job when he was lined up across from O.J. Howard. I mean, the coverage was pretty solid for the most part, but O.J. Howard is just a monster, man. I wouldn't have been upset if we had drafted him during that year. O.J. Howard is a legitimate tight end, and he's just really good. And, I mean, those 2 touchdowns they got in the first half, I mean, it was the same exact play both times, man. Just O.J. Howard out to the right, and he did his thing. So I don't know, man. One of the things that tight ends are very important because if you have a good one, you don't know what he's doing. I mean, and in some of the plays that Greg Olsen made today, he kind of dipped out right in the middle of the play when he was in there blocking. It's another way to kind of keep the defense on their toes. And Pittsburgh has some good ones, man. Jesse James is a good one. But, yeah, our defense definitely needs to start being worried about these sideline-to-sideline plays on the red zone because teams are going to hurt us that way.
In upsetting news, the Los Angeles Rams just missed a field goal, 51 yards, no good, wide right. We could use you guys. Look, this is the one time this year I'm cheering for you. You got to beat those Aints for us. All right, we got one more call that just came in, Cody. We're going to go with it.
All right.
What up, y'all boys, man? It's your man, Mr. T-Money 1993, a.k.a. Straight Fat. I just want to say, man, these Bucs fans are still delusional. I just had a Bucs fan try to tell me they only won because we ran misdirection stuff. It's just crazy, man, how we still dominating teams and people still don't believe in us, man. But I just want to tell y'all guys, good show, man. Y'all know I always rep C3 all day, every day. Enjoy the win, guys.
That's my dude right there, T-Money. We gotta get you back on the show on Tuesday night. T-Money's right, though, is like, hey, look, is that you cannot say misdirection is a bad thing. You only beat us because of misdirection. You know what that means? Is you only beat us because you scored more points than us. That's what that means.
Yeah. You only beat us because we were a better team.
Yeah. All right. Cody, any last points that you want to go over when it comes to this game and what we got to look for on Thursday?
Yeah, man. Everybody, I don't know if you're all praying people or if you pray to the universe or whatever, man. Thursday nights are bad for injuries. Everybody direct their thoughts towards our players, that everyone makes it out healthy, that everybody's able to come through this, ready to go, ready to move. And yeah, this, I mean, in my opinion, this is our statement coming up. Pittsburgh, they started slow, but they're firing on all cylinders now. They're putting up a lot of points. They look like the Pittsburgh Steelers that you might know and fear. So it's time for us to play our best football. It's the time of season where there's a lot of good teams in the NFC. And if you drop even one or two, that might be the difference between not making the playoffs or not having a home field advantage or not even having a home playoff game at all. So, yeah, man, it's time to support our boys and let's do it.
We've got to get after these Saints. Alvin Kamara's running all over these Rams already. We got to catch up with these Saints, and it starts on Thursday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to be here on Tuesday night live, 9 p.m. on the C3 Panthers podcast, the #1 Panthers podcast, the longest-running Panthers podcast. And if you don't believe it, check after 2 hours of us doing the show, and you'll be like, damn, this thing is still running. We appreciate it, and it's only because you guys keep calling. You're supporting us. The Cat Calls line for Tuesday night show is 252-228-5098. My name is Tony Dunn. You can follow me at cat_chronicles. Cody, how can they follow you on Twitter?
At Cody Lack, CODYLAC. Hit me up. I love to talk about everything Panthers, Clemson football, whatever you want to talk about, man. I'm down to chill, whatever.
You guys got to continue to support the show. Look at me. I'm wearing my I Stand With Cam t-shirt. You can find those on CarolinaCatChronicles.com. The link to purchase that is in the show notes. You can also donate on Patreon or PayPal to continue to fund this fan endeavor. What we see this is when you think about the C3 podcast, I want you to think about this, is that all of us riding together in the car to the game, having fun, chopping it up, and talking junk about the other team. We're going to check you out on Tuesday night, 9 p.m. See you then. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, baby.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.